Hey everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm a typical 21-year-old college student juggling classes, a part-time job, and family issues. Yeah, family drama. My life feels like a soap opera, but without the glitz. One day, as I was leaving work, my boss asked if I could work an extra shift this weekend. I sighed, thinking about my midterms, but agreed. Lately, I've been trying to manage between my studies and my job at the local diner. I'm stretched thin, just like my wallet after paying bills. Speaking of bills, my family situation is complicated. My parents divorced when I was a kid, and my dad, Tom, quickly remarried. Enter Karen, my stepmom, and Emily, my stepsister, who's as friendly as a toothache. One evening, I reminded Dad about the electric bill due the next day. He forgot and asked me to cover it. Business has been slow for his construction company, so I've been helping out financially even though I'm struggling myself. I said I'd handle it and started calculating how many extra hours I'd need to work. Meanwhile, Emily lives her life without lifting a finger or contributing anything. One day, when I visited Dad's place, she demanded her allowance. Allowance? You're 18, get a job. I told her. She just rolled her eyes and whined that Dad said I'd take care of it. Of course, he did. Emily's Dad's favorite, and I'm the family's ATM. Despite all this, I've been working hard to keep my grades up. I didn't want my GPA to drop just because I'm financially supporting my family. I asked my professor for an extension on a paper, feeling guilty. Sarah, this is the third time this semester. Is everything okay? He asked. I forced a smile and said I'd have it by Friday. Just when I thought I had everything under control, Dad called with serious news. We need to talk about your future, he said, making my stomach drop. I agreed to come over the next evening, feeling anxious. I thought maybe he'd be proud of my good exam results. When I arrived at Dad's house, my stomach was in knots. I couldn't wait to share my news, but Dad's serious tone made me freeze. Karen and Emily were there too, both looking very serious. Sarah, you know Emily is starting college soon, Dad said. Yeah, I replied, confused. Well, we've been thinking it might be best if you took a break from your studies, just for a while, Dad continued. I blinked, thinking I must have heard wrong. A break? Why? To work full-time, Dad said. Emily needs help with her tuition. Wait, you want me to drop out to pay for Emily's college? I asked, shocked. It's not dropping out, just postponing, Karen said. Are you kidding me? I'm already working hard to help with bills, I protested. Dad shifted uncomfortably. I know, and we appreciate it, but Emily needs this opportunity. You're older, you can always go back later. Later? I'm in the middle of my degree, I can't just pause my life. Don't be so dramatic, Emily said, rolling her eyes. It's not like your art history degree is curing cancer or anything. It's economics, I snapped, and that's not the point. Sarah, watch your tone, Karen said sharply. We're asking you to be a team player here. A team player? I've been carrying this whole team for years. I'm drowning in student loans and working crazy hours. And now you want me to give up my education for Emily? It's your duty as the older sibling, Dad said firmly. Emily deserves a chance too. And what about my chance? I asked. The one I'm working so hard for? Oh please, Emily scoffed, like you're not privileged enough already. Privileged? I shouted. I'm working 2 jobs and barely sleeping. At least you got to go to college. It's my turn now, Emily pouted. Your turn? This isn't a carnival ride, it's my future we're talking about. Sarah, don't be selfish, Karen scolded. Family helps family. Selfish? I've been paying half your mortgage and even bought Emily's prom dress when you were short on cash, I said, feeling frustrated. Dad looked uncomfortable. We know you've helped out, but what? I interrupted. I'm keeping this family afloat, and now you want me to sink my own ship? It's not forever, Sarah, Dad said, just until Emily gets settled. And how long will that be? A year? 4? What about my loans and career plans? We'll figure it out, Dad said. Dismissively, the important thing is supporting Emily right now. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Tears of frustration welled up in my eyes. I can't do this. I won't. Sarah, be reasonable, Dad pleaded. Reasonable? You're asking me to give up everything I've worked for so Emily can party through freshman year on my dime. Hey, Emily protested. I'm going to study. This is insane. I'm out of here. I stormed out, ignoring their calls. Once in my car, I broke down and fumbled for my phone. Alex, are you free? I need to talk. 20 minutes later, I was at Alex's place, spilling everything between sobs. They want me to do what? Are they out of their minds? Apparently, I can't believe Dad would ask this of me. Sarah, honey, you've got to stop enabling them. They're taking advantage of you. But they're family. Family doesn't treat you like an ATM. You need to cut them off. Cut them off? I can't just. Why not? They're ready to flush your future down the toilet. It's time to put yourself first. I wiped my eyes, Alex's words sinking in. Maybe it was time to teach them a lesson. You're right. I can't keep doing this, but how do I make them understand? Sometimes people only learn when they face consequences. Maybe it's time they felt what it's like without your support. As the idea took root, I felt a mix of fear and determination. It was time for a change. If my family couldn't see my worth, I'd have to show them the hard way. Alex, I've got an idea, but I need your help. I'm all yours, girl. What's the plan? We're going to create a fake job offer. Something big, something that'll make them realize what they're losing. Ooh, I like where this is going. What kind of job? How about a marketing position for a startup in California? It's far enough that I'd have to move. Perfect. I've got a friend in graphic design. We can whip up a legit-looking offer letter. A week later, I was ready to drop the bomb. I called Dad, my heart racing. Hey Dad, got a minute? I've got some news. Sarah, what's up, honey? I'm quitting my job. I got an offer for a great job in California, so I told Dad, I'm taking it. California? But what about our bills? Dad asked. I can't keep supporting everyone, Dad. I need to focus on my future now. But Sarah, we need you. What about Emily's tuition? I'm sure you'll figure it out. You wanted me to focus on my future, right? Well, this is me doing that. I hung up, feeling both guilty and relieved. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of urgent calls and texts. Sarah, please, we can't make rent this month, Dad pleaded. I'm sorry, Dad, but I have my own expenses now. But Emily's tuition. She's an adult, she can get a job like I did, I said, watching from afar as my family's situation unraveled. Dad took on extra shifts at his construction job, coming home exhausted every night. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I applied for a job at Burger Baron. I overheard Karen saying one evening when I stopped by to pick up some mail. You what? Dad responded, but you haven't worked in years. I don't want to flip burgers, but we don't have a choice, Karen said. Meanwhile, Emily was having her own meltdown. This is so unfair. I'm supposed to be focusing on school. Welcome to the real world, sis, I muttered under my breath. Despite the chaos, I made sure to support my mom. I secretly helped her set up an online business selling her handmade jewelry. Sarah, this website is amazing. How did you afford it? She asked. Don't worry about it, Mom. I'm just glad you're doing what you love. As weeks turned into months, Dad's calls became more desperate. Sarah, we're drowning here. Can't you help us just a little? I'm sorry, Dad, but I have my own bills to pay. How's Emily's job search going? She's struggling. No one will hire her, Dad said. I wonder why, I said, remembering how Emily had looked down on my part-time work. Despite the guilt, I stuck to my decision. I focused on my studies, acing exams and impressing my professors. Sarah, your latest paper was outstanding, Professor Chin told me. Have you considered applying for our summer research program? That would be amazing, I said. As I left campus that day, I saw another missed call from Dad. I hesitated, then put my phone away. They needed to learn, and I needed to stand firm. But how long could I keep this up? And when it was all over, would there be anything left of my family to salvage? 3 months flew by, and I decided it was time to face the music. I pulled up to Dad's house, bracing myself. The lawn was overgrown, and the house looked like it had seen better days. I barely knocked before the door swung open. Dad's face showed relief and desperation. Sarah, thank God you're back, he said. We've been. Save it, Dad. I'm here to talk, not to bail you out. I stepped inside and saw a mess, dishes piled high, clothes everywhere. In the living room, Karen and Emily were in a heated argument. This is all your fault. If you'd just gotten a job like Sarah said, Karen yelled. My fault? You're the one who married a man who can't even pay his own bills, Emily shot back. Hey, that's enough, both of you, I said. They turned, shocked to see me. Emily recovered first, her face twisting into a sneer. Well, look who decided to grace us with her presence. How's the big city treating you, Miss High and Mighty? I couldn't help but laugh. Oh, Emily, I never left town. The room went silent. Dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. What do you mean you never left? I mean there was no job in California. I've been here the whole time, watching you all implode. Karen gasped. You lied to us. How could you? I shouted. How could you all do this? Talk about how you've treated me for years? I turned to Dad, my voice shaking. You always favored Emily. Everything I did was never enough. I paid your bills, kept this family afloat, and you had the audacity to ask me to give up my future for her? Dad stammered. I didn't realize. Save it. I cut him off. And you, Karen, you've been manipulating Dad since day one. Gold digger doesn't even begin to cover it. You've never worked a day in your life until now, have you? Karen's face turned red. How dare you? I've been a homemaker. You've been a leech. I shot back. And Emily, oh Emily, did you really think the world owed you a free ride? That you could coast through life on other people's hard work? Emily scoffed, but I saw uncertainty in her eyes. News flash, sis, the world doesn't care about your entitlement. It's time to grow up. Dad stepped forward, his eyes pleading. Sarah, please, we've learned our lesson. We'll do better, I promise. Just don't leave us like this. I took a deep breath. It's too late, Dad. I'm done. And so are you, with this house, at least. What do you mean? Dad asked, confused. The house is in my name, I said. I'm selling it. You have 30 days to find a new place. Karen shrieked. You can't do that. We'll be homeless. Should have thought of that before you tried to derail my life, I said coldly. And all those bills and subscriptions I've been paying? They're cancelled as of now. Emily started to cry for real this time. But where will we go? That's not my problem anymore, I said firmly. I'm cutting ties permanently. I've accepted a real job offer out of state. I'm starting fresh without any of you dragging me down. Dad fell to his knees, sobbing. Sarah, please, we're family. Give us another chance. We'll make it right, I swear. I felt a twinge of guilt but pushed it aside. Family doesn't treat each other like ATMs. Dad, you had your chances. Years of chances. You showed me who you really are, and I believe you. I turned to leave, but Emily grabbed my arm. You can't just leave us with nothing. I yanked my arm away. Watch me. Welcome to the real world, Emily. Time to sink or swim on your own. As I walked out, I heard them arguing again, blaming each other for pushing me away. I got into my car, my hands shaking as I gripped the steering wheel. As I drove away, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It hurt, yes, but for the first time in years, I felt free. The road ahead was uncertain, but at least it was mine to choose. Was I too harsh on my family, or did they get what they deserved? How far would you go to teach toxic relatives a lesson?